Welcome to the Secular Homeschool Revolution. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so glad you guys are here. Today, it's just going to be a lot of me rambling and giving a life update. I have been sick for like the last week, and my butt is kicked, and it's not anything. It's just allergies. Every time I step outside, my eyes burn and they start getting watery, and I just start getting all congested. And so I'm heavy on allergy medication, and I'm just gonna have to start wearing masks outside so I'm not breathing in this toxic Texas air that is keeping me all congested and like a puffy head. And so I'm tired of it. Nobody in my house is sick, just me, and it's been me, and it's lingering. And right when I feel better and I go outside, it just starts all over again. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm still here and I'm still not consistent with my episode drops. And I just wanted to overall give you some just what's been going on in my world update. So I did tell y'all I was going to a 3-day weekend trip to celebrate my friend's birthday, and it was so on time. It was so fun. We laughed and we laughed and we laughed. We drank a little, then we drank a lot, and we stayed up late. We slept in. We snacked. We celebrated each other as women, and it was just a lot of just good, slow moments. And I'm so happy to have those ladies as friends and that our paths have crossed in this world. So it was overall just a beautiful weekend. But I got back Sunday evening, and then Monday I went to me and Langston. My son's name is Langston. He's 3. We joined a preschool co-op. It was at a park, and I think that's where I messed up. I was there from about 11 a.m. to about 3 p.m. The kids did like a little trail and to go find rocks, and then they did rock painting together as a group, and they put the little googly eyes. Then we ate lunch, and then we went to go play at the playground. So it was a long day of being outside, and I didn't take an allergy pill, so I think this is where all of this started. But I will say it was overall a really good experience of joining another community. Our co-op for the culture, we only do activities for kids 5 and up. So I was looking for a space that for Langston that was 4 and under. And so this was the first one that I've joined, and it was nice. Everyone was nice. Everyone was welcoming. And I am one of those people, though, who think I can do all of the things. And I was like, well, maybe I should start a preschool leg of For the Culture. But then I was like, no, just go and enjoy the space without adding something else on your plate. And so that's what I'm going to commit to as of right now, is just going and enjoying the space and taking Langston once a week. I will say he had a really cool moment, and I'm so proud of him, because this playground had a 3-tier jungle gym. And so I'm a very relaxed parent. I'm one of those people who I let my kids just flow, and if there's a bump in the flow, then I'll like figure out what's going on. But for the most part, they flow, and then they learn if they fall. I don't ever want to panic them, like, are you okay? Are you okay? And so if they get up and they're not crying, then they're fine. So anyway, Langston is going up this 3-tier jungle gym, and he gets going from the 2nd to the 3rd on the ladder. And I see him pause, and he's like, Mommy, it's too high. And I said, it's too high? Yes. But when I got closer, I could see that he was only like 2 or maybe 3 ladder steps up from the next row. And I said, well, Langston, You are powerful. You are brave. You are courageous. You can do it. And he said, I am, Mommy. I am powerful. I am brave. I am courageous. And so he gets to the top. And he said, I did it, Mommy. I did it. And he started screaming and jumping up and down. And so it was really awesome to see. Like, that was one of those moments where you're like, maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe, just maybe. At that moment, I felt that way, right? But, that's few and far between. But I was really proud of him. And when he came down the slide and he just said, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. And I think that made my entire week. And so just to see him, and that also was the first time I think I saw him in a group setting with kids his age. And you definitely can tell he hangs out with older kids because he was like, let's play pirates. And they all started playing pirates. And he's like, let's go this way, let's go that way. And he does talk really well for his age, and he's very animated. And so and he's very thoughtful and caring. So when a little girl was not playing pirates, he came down off the little steps and he said, you play with us? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, yes, you will play with us. And he said, you're going to be a pirate. And so anyway, he's just a very outgoing kid. I also want to say his name is Langston. So it's very telling when you meet people because there's always two reactions. It's either, oh, did you name him after the poet, the writer, Langston Hughes? And then we say yes. Then the other response will be, oh, that's a very Victorian or distinguished sounding name. Is that a family name? And then I'll say, well, no, he's actually named after the poet, the writer, Langston Hughes. And they're like, oh, I've never heard of him. But then, my husband's funny because he used to carry Langston Hughes screenshots of like Langston Hughes poems around, and he would either like airdrop them to people who said they never heard of Langston Hughes or show them the screenshot because he thought it was very important for people to be exposed to diverse literature. And he was like, they just weren't well read enough. And he's like, if we have to be assigned in college, the classics for them, for non-melanated people, then they should be exposed to the classics for us. And I mean, we've all read like Sylvia Plath, and I mean, which that's a whole other interesting journey. I could talk about that, but or Anne Sexton. I'm like, why did we all have to read that? But anyway, so that was my soapbox bill about Langston's name. And then so we did the preschool thing, and then I got home and I started feeling terrible. And my husband was going out of town from Tuesday to Saturday. So it just wasn't a good timing for me to get sick, but my mom and my aunt were in town, and so they were a big help. We didn't get a lot of homeschooling done, so it was a super relaxed week for them. I mean, they got to be with their Lita and their aunt, so they were fine. And then this week is spring break for everyone local, and I did sign them up for some spring break classes in like a spring break camp. So I'm excited that the girls get to go to a Black Girls Who Engineer day camp. This is the first time I think they're coming to San Antonio, and a bunch of their co-op friends will be joining them. And then my husband's going to be teaching a couple of hip hop classes at the local rec center, which there's one class I probably will end up sitting in and watching because I'm excited about it, which is hip hop voice of the people. And it's going to talk about how people used hip hop as a form of activism. And while I am a huge fan of music today, like I know Cardi B gets so much hate, and I know what Sexy Red gets so much hate. I get it. I mean, I'll if it's on the radio, I'm not going to change it. But I also wish there was a little bit more substance in some artists. Like make some party music, but then also make some songs that speak to the youth about progress and change, but then Also, am I giving too much thought into am I putting too much responsibility on these artists' shoulders because they may have not ever been exposed to that form of change or activism, or maybe they're not even aware of the issues? No, they definitely are. And they need to get with the program. That's me processing my thoughts out loud. But anyway, so I'm excited that these kids are going to have access to this information. And he was able to offer it free to the community. So I'll let you know how that goes. And let me give a quick podcast update. I officially have 40 subscribers, which at the end of January, I only had 10. So I'm very proud of my progress and the momentum I'm building. My episodes have almost collectively been listened to about I think it was like a little over 300 times. So that's really nice. And my most popular episode is the Calling All Progressive Secular Homeschooling Parents. So I don't know. The feedback I got from it was mostly positive, that it was nice that there was like a defining conversation about the different types of secular homeschoolers, conservative homeschoolers versus progressive homeschoolers, and having different spaces for them and not being lumped in together. Also, I did want to tell y'all about this Facebook group. I think I told y'all about this secular decolonizing Facebook group. That one is my favorite group. I'm probably the one I spend the most time on outside of our co-op Facebook group. But the other one, there is a secular progressive homeschooling Facebook page that I think you should join, because they do give great resources and break down different topics. And so, yeah, it is called the Secular Progressive Homeschooling, and it is relatively new. It started last July of 2023. So if you're ever needing like community support, that would be a place to go check out. Oh, and I feel like I talk about Mint and Bloom so much, but man, I think being a homeschooler for as long as I have, I've been waiting for such just like a bold curriculum. And today I saw that they released a reel on Facebook and Instagram that they did a Palestine unit to give the history, and you're able to differentiate, and it is currently a free download. I have downloaded it. I have not combed through it, but the little bit that I did see, I was like, this is some good stuff. So if you want some good stuff, you might want to check it out and see if it'll work for you and your family. To have that conversation if you were unsure how to start it or how to have it with your kids. I know my kids have had questions about it because we try to watch CNN 10, or we just watch different news programs, and what's going on in Palestine and Gaza is brought up questions, and so I'm having to navigate finding resources to discuss with a 7 and 11-year-old why this is happening and why it's continuing to happen, and do it in an empathetic way for them to understand that there are people who think bombing kids is all right, and it absolutely is not. But we're going to have those conversations because it is happening to kids. We've been having them, but now we have like a concrete resource to like show them. But yes, we definitely wish the world to have more empathy. Oh, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is my daughters are participating in a youth pop-up shop. And it's funny because they both had like really, really big ideas that have shifted and pivoted, and I love a good pivot. And so Parker was initially going to do a poetry book, but she only got to about 5 or 6 poems, and has since then pivoted to making a bookmark company because she's really into bookmarks. So she named it Rainbow & Co. and she's been using Canva templates to design her own personalized bookmarks, and she's gotten really creative, and a lot of them are rainbow inspired. Ever since she was little, she just loved rainbows, and for a while she had rainbow glasses. And I guess it would just depend on people's perspective, because it was several different responses like, wow, I love that her glasses are so bright. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you are a progressive parent and support her identity. When it wasn't, it was just her liking rainbows. And so now that she's 11 and still heavy into rainbows, where it's interesting to see how people are supporting her. But I don't think she's defined anything. I think she's just really into rainbows and wanted to name her bookmark company Rainbow & Co. My 7-year-old was going to do tarot card readings. She's really into magic and fantasy books. So she started doing like research on it, and I know I'm very open-minded in that way. And I got her a kid-friendly tarot card set, and so she got into the 3-deck readings, but then she since then changed her mind, and she is doing polymer clay jewelry. So this was like an abrupt change as of like last week, but she has took a deep dive into it. She uses Google Voice to look up the searches on her computer because she's not a great typer or a super strong speller at the moment. She is 7. I mean, she does really well, but she does Google Voice to navigate, or the Google Voice widget to navigate the internet. So she's watched several YouTube videos. She did go to a polymer clay jewelry class last week, and she's got ideas from Pinterest and Etsy, and has made, I would say, about 12 pieces of her collection. I am one of those parents that let their kids lead their learning in this, because I can't want this more for them than they want it for themselves. And I think that's a little bit of the unschooling in me, where I'm like, let it be child led. And so they both are taking charge on their businesses because they want to participate. But if they had nothing, then they just didn't want to participate, and that's okay. But as of today, I mean, as of the last week or so, they've been both really motivated to have something done in the next couple of weeks. So I'm super proud of them for taking the initiative of figuring out what their businesses are, using Canva to design their logos and their signage. Shout out to Miss Jen for exposing and introducing and teaching all of us on how to use Canva and branding, because they really have taken those lessons to heart. But that was all the updates I wanted to give you guys. I told you this episode was going to be a lot of me rambling, giving updates. I had no notes, so I do apologize for all the extra ands, buts, likes. It was really just me processing on the go. I normally like to have like an outline of my episode with some like scripted notes, and I didn't. I did because I did receive a message on my Instagram asking where my updated episode was. So I was like, oh man, I've been feeling mostly under the weather. Today has been the most I felt closest to myself. So I wanted to use this energy to give an episode, because I don't think I'll have time the way the rest of the week is going, because I'm going to be doing a lot of chauffeuring around, and a lot of chauffeuring around across town. And the traffic here is no joke. I used to think that from my house I could get to anywhere in San Antonio within like 15 minute-ish. Like there was an ish there, right? It's hard to get across town in 15 minutes. It feels like 40-45 minutes, sometimes an hour. But the good thing is, as a homeschooler, I, for the most part, don't leave my house before 9. And I try to come back before 4, before the heavy traffic hits, because that's just not how I want to live my life. but it is spring break week, and I wasn't trying to take this week off because I know all the public school kids are out doing all of the things and making long lines everywhere, but I forgot I had signed them up for all of these camps and classes. So I'm just going to take it as a win, as another like week of not planning, and they're just going to enjoy taking those classes, and it's one less thing I have to worry about this week. And we'll just get back to it next week, get the ball rolling, do some review. And oh, I shared today in our Facebook group, graphic organizers. I am a sucker for some graphic organizers in math and language arts. So Teacher Pay Teacher has some really free graphic organizers, but we did review today, and I was like, ooh, I kept coming across this like file I have with different graphic organizers that I've downloaded over the last couple of years, and so I was sharing them. But anyway, if you are a fan, if you have a favorite graphic organizer, please share it with me. That is one thing I do geek out on. Anyway, well, thanks for joining me on my episode of Rambling for the Secular Homeschool Revolution. And I hope you guys have a safe rest of the week. My mom did give me some notes that I needed to have like a signature closing line. And so I'm going to be working on getting a signature closeout line because my mom gave me that feedback. All right, thank you for joining me on the Secular Homeschool Revolution. Keep revolutionizing your education. Until next time, be progressive. No, that didn't work. Well, it's a work in progress. See you next time, guys.